Welcome to the Terrible Take, a mini podcast telling Steelers Nation what's on our mind. I'm Joe Clark. I'm curious how the Pittsburgh Steelers gunner situation is going to work out this season. With James Pierre landing on the practice squad following his release, the Steelers will need to figure out a long-term plan for who their second gunner will be. There is an easy solution, which is elevating Pierre for 3 games to be the gunner opposite Ben Skowronek, as the two served as Pittsburgh's gunners last season, and then signing Pierre to the active roster. If the Steelers suffer a long-term injury, an IR move and promotion of Pierre would make sense. But if there's no injury suffered, it does make things interesting, as the Steelers will need to cut someone off the roster to sign Pierre. It could be Max Sharping, or it could be Andrus Peat, but the Steelers' backup offensive line really hasn't looked good, and the two of them at least provide some measure of depth. Of course, this is all assuming Pierre is in the plans to be the gunner week 1, and if he isn't, it's an open question of who fills that role for the Steelers. I am operating off the assumption that Pierre will be the gunner week 1. It's not a problem the team will have to address immediately, but it was a little bit surprising to me that Pierre didn't circle back to the active roster following his release. Right now, who the other gunner is, Skowronek, is the biggest question that's been on my mind since roster cutdowns, and it's something the team will need to figure out at some point. Ideally, there are no injuries that provide Pierre an easier path to the 53. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, and an injury could obviously affect the product on the field for the Steelers. But if there's no injuries, then a roster move will have to be made if Pierre hits his 3 roster elevations from the practice squad. And then it gets even trickier if an injury occurs to starting offensive lineman, because the easier names to cut become less viable. We'll have to see how it all shakes out, but it's something to ponder with the season nearly a week away. Be sure to follow us at SteelersDepot.com and check out episodes of The Terrible Take every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out The Terrible Podcast with Alex Kazor and Dave Bryan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.